Situated in the heart of the Acadia University campus, the Acadia Seminary is an architecturally impressive landmark in the town of Wolfville. When the residence opened back in 1878, it was known at the time as the Acadia Ladies Seminary. It was a secondary school affiliated with the university that served as both residence and classroom for female students who at that time were not allowed to enroll in academic classes at Acadia. According to legend, a young female student from the seminary who had been seeing a local young man discovered that she was with child. Now the young lady, referred to by many as Connie, she could not bear the thought of having to go through an out-of-wedlock pregnancy, and the young man had left town. She was afraid to tell her parents, and she was afraid to tell her teachers, and not knowing what else to do, she decided that her very best way out of this situation lay at the end of a well-tied noose. She hanged herself there in the area of the seminary house 4th floor, known today as the Well, a large opening that goes down to the floor below. Over the years, there have been many paranormal activities reported at Seminary House. Lights turn on and off, footsteps are heard going up and down the back stairwell. Doors swing open and slam shut on their own. Objects move by themselves, and disembodied voices can be heard whispering throughout the residence. Some claim to have seen a young female wandering about the rooms and the hallways, opening and closing the doors behind her. All who have seen her believe that this is truly the walking spirit of Connie, searching for a way out of her hopeless predicament. Those who have seen her describe her as appearing polite, almost demure. Although if she draws close enough, they claim they have felt a bitter cold chill as she passes on by.
I wanted to go to Acadia, I think, because I was from a smaller town, and Wolfville kind of gave that small town feel that I was comfortable with. And when I went to tour the campus for the first time, I saw a seminary house, and when I realized that it was a residence, I really wanted to live there. I hadn't gone inside, just from the outside. I thought it had a lot of character, it was beautiful, and so that was my first choice for a university residence, and I was really lucky that I got to live there. My first experience with the seminary ghost, I'm not sure when this would have occurred relative to me moving in, but it occurred in my room. So I had just turned my lights out, I was laying in bed and about to fall asleep, and very suddenly I knew I wasn't alone in my room. I just could feel that there was somebody in the room with me. And then really quickly, I just turned my lamp on, and of course there was nobody there. And then as soon as I had turned the light on, whatever feeling I had just kind of disappeared. But there definitely was someone in the room with me. I had gotten home, it was quite late at night. I knew I was alone in the washroom because I didn't see any feet under the stall doors. And very, very, very like my first experience, suddenly I could feel someone right behind me. And it was the same pit of my stomach feeling that I had the first time. I knew she was there. And I looked in the mirror because what I was afraid I was going to see is somebody standing behind me. And I said out loud, I said, "I know you're here. I can feel you." And I said, it's okay to reveal yourself to me, but please do it in a way that doesn't really scare me. And so yeah, I said that a few times, and then like the first time, my first experience, very suddenly the presence was gone and I didn't feel anything else. As part of a research methods course, we had to do archival research, and I had never done it before, but we got to choose our own topics, and I wanted to find the seminary ghost. So what I know about Constance was she actually wasn't a student at Acadia. She was a student at Horton Academy. And at that time, the female students at Horton Academy would have been housed in Seminary House. So she died in May 1927, and her cause of death listed was malignant endocarditis, which is a technical term, I think, for heart failure. But there was no autopsy performed on her. And so terms like heart failure were often listed on death certificates historically just because of the stigmatization of suicide. And the church at that time was still a dominant institution culturally and socially and in many people's lives. And so it's possible that that was listed just to give her family some discretion. I did look for her grave for quite a while. She's buried in Amherst, and it was important to me to go to her grave. So I'm hoping to go to Amherst and visit her grave, hopefully in the near future.
Coming up, the team heads to Wolfville in search of the lonely ghost of the Acadia Seminary.
I'm Jana Wenzel. I am a proud Acadia University alumna. I graduated in 1994 with a Bachelor of Physical Education, and I was a proud resident of Seminary House in my first year, 1990, and in my second year, 91 to 92. I guess I wasn't necessarily a believer until I had my experience. So that was midway through my second year. So this is known as the well, and the well was open to the floor below. But it was closed in after my time here because of fire hazard. Look. Oh, a nice squeaky door. Oh, wow. So I had the Monet poster plaque mounted. And so I had the bed here, and my head was up at this end. But I woke up, and so it was like somebody had leaned over and taken the poster off the wall and turned it 90 degrees. And so when I woke up, it was laying across my chest. But it was one of those, like, your logical brain can't come up with a reason. It probably took a day or so of asking, was anyone in my room last night? Before I sort of just was like, oh, it must have been the ghost.
So I'm up in the fourth floor of Seminary House. The crew and Jana have left me here to just kind of spend a little bit of time, chill out, take it in, kind of just down the hallways. Part of the tale of what happened at Seminary House, or at least one of the stories from one of the residents at Seminary House, happened here, obviously. But I don't know what happened. I don't know the extent of it. I don't know what was experienced, if it was once an off-the-cuff situation, multiple times, a regular occurrence. I don't know. But Sounds like somebody in the hallway back there. Guess we're gonna go check that out. So apparently this is where she roomed. Gonna avoid that room for now. There's 2 more rooms over here. So, exterior emergency door is now alarmed. That says alarmed right there. You can maybe just barely reach it, make it out, but sounded like somebody was out this way. I don't know if the audio caught that or not, but there should be nobody there.
EMF detectors locate sources of electromagnetic radiation. Since ghosts are thought to emit electromagnetic radiation or disturb existing magnetic fields, these devices can be used to potentially detect them.
Is there anybody here with me? I'm inviting anybody who might be here to come forward. Talk with me. Is there somebody here? Sounds like the elevator going off down there. Yeah, every now and then I get a little flash or something. Part of what we're going to do for the investigation is we're going to set up a camera with a view directly onto a REM pod. So a REM pod is kind of like an all-in-one paranormal investigation tool. It's got an EMF detector, very similar to the one that I carry around that I use quite often. It's got 4 LEDs that will detect any kind of disruption to the EMF around the unit itself, and will tell you estimated location. So it'll actually say not just that there's a disruption to the EMF, but there's a disruption to one side of the room, etc. This form of REM pod that we have here, I believe this is the REM pod 2. It's also got a temperature system into it too. So it will actually click off when there's any form of a drastic change in temperature, which can denote paranormal presence as well. So first thing that we're going to do is we're going to turn up the little antenna, turn the device on. As you can see, it just kind of detecting me doing my thing here. I'm just going to set up the camera for view with the device. Zero it off. Range, temperature 0 it off. And now, if anything happens, we'll hear the audible signal. If anything's detected, like I said, the audible signal will go off. We'll capture something on film as well.
The spirit box uses radio frequency sweeps to generate white noise. This gives some entities the energy they need to communicate. Interaction occurs as voices or sounds coming through the static.
Is Constance here with us? Is there anybody here with us? Almost sounded like I am.
Tell us your name if you're not Constance.
We'd like to speak to you. Can you please just step forward and make yourself known? Tell us your name. Make something coherent through the box. We'd like to speak to anybody who might be here with us. If you are a spirit, somebody who was living, hasn't moved on, and are present with us, please come forward and talk to us.
Don't be afraid of the men. They won't hurt you.
I just felt almost like a little breeze. And this is a pretty stale room. It was weird. I have to tell you, I feel a sense of ease here. Maybe whatever was here has moved on.
Yeah, she may have found peace.
She may have found peace. She may have moved on. But I'm not wondering if the building itself hasn't, after all of these years, found peace. It's kind of a sweet thought when you put it into perspective. You know, with all the heartache and all of the negativity that might have occurred at one point, things just kind of feel at peace right now. Oddly enough. Really, the events of the night were just good story, communication, you know, just kind of interviews and meeting with some interesting people. I'm pretty happy with the idea and the fact that it almost feels like at a time that we come into this, that there is just a peace with this. You know, there's a time and a place for what was being seen, and it might just continue to live on like that forever in you know, the hearts and the minds of students that exist today here or that have gone here. Whether it's just continual stories that will always have a place in like I said, in the hearts and the mind and the souls of students that are you know, future, present, and past. Or it's just something that'll go down documented and then eventually quiets off, and it's a relic of the past and only exists in paper. Only time will really tell.
So I think that it is certainly part of the culture. I mean, I guess it's all part of the experience, right? I mean, it's explore the possibilities, you know. It's all part of the university experience, right? Opening yourself up to possibilities, wonder. Yeah, so no different than any sort of learning experience, I guess. An experience with the ghost, you might be lucky enough to have it. I think it's, you know, I wouldn't say, yeah, I would say it's luck or privilege or something. It's not malicious. At least my experience wasn't malicious. And I've never heard of it being a malicious ghost.
So I started this archival research where I started looking into Constance's life. I think it was in 2013, so that's 10 years ago. And I've wanted to come see her gravesite for that long since I started the research. Today we're here and we've finally found her grave, and so this is the first time I'll be seeing it since I started this research in 2013. I found out things about her and her family, probably things that when she was young she never would have thought, you know, after I'm gone, someone almost 100 years later would know this much about my life.
How do you feel?
I feel really nice. I feel like a sense of peace, and I'm really thankful to be here. I would say to her, I have tried my best to keep your story alive, and I hope by giving you a name, whether or not what the story is with Seminary House is true, or you know, the folklore behind the ghosts in Seminary House, I just want people to remember that Constance was a very young girl. She was 18 years old when she died. She did die in Seminary House, and that she had a story, and to respect her story and respect her name as we continue to live in Seminary House and celebrate our house culture, which inevitably also includes, you know, the ghost stories. So what I would tell Constance is, I've tried my best to give you your story light and fairness, and for people to be able to remember your name as time goes forward and as Seminary House continues and to exist and all of the next generations come and live there.